Good morning. My name is Gardner, and I'll be the facilitator for this session entitled Text Complexity Matters. Today in this session, we will discuss the concept of text complexity and why it is important. We will also discuss the three-part model in order to determine text complexity and how to identify the complexity band of a piece of text. Text complexity is vital in increasing student achievement in reading. It is apparent that text complexity has an important focus in the Tennessee Core Standards. One of the reading standards is devoted solely to text complexity. The anchor standards define what students should be able to do upon graduation from high school and before enrolling in college or preparing for a career. We are equipping our students with the necessary skills in order to be productive citizens. The Tennessee Core Standards are like a GPS that serve as a roadmap for teaching text complexity. The standards lose their essence if they are not implemented through the use of challenging and engaging text. Here you see a text complexity model which illustrates the three components: qualitative measures, quantitative measures, and reader and task considerations. Appendix A defines the three elements of text complexity as qualitative, quantitative, and reader and task considerations. Qualitative measures measure the levels of meaning, structure, language conventions, and clarity as well as knowledge demands. Quantitative measures the readability of the text, and that is often scored by some type of software. Reader and task considerations take into account the background or prior knowledge of the reader, as well as factors such as reader's motivation, interest, and task given. The third and final component is measured by the teacher by using his or her professional judgment. Qualitative measures. The qualitative measures involve using text structure, language demands, conventions, the knowledge of those demands, as well as the levels of meaning and the purpose. The quantitative measures measure things such as the word length, the word frequency, the word difficulty, the length of the sentence, the length of the text, as well as the text cohesion. The third and final element of the task complexity model is the reader and task considerations. The third element is determined by the teacher. Is the student motivated to read the text? What prior knowledge and experience do the student have in reference to the text in which he or she will be reading? What are the students doing with the text as they read? For example, annotating the text. The complexity of the task should also be considered. Why is text complexity important? These results imply that teachers are spending too much time teaching strategies so that the students are becoming proficient and independent readers with that particular strategy. The strategies are ineffective unless they are actually reading complex texts. The conditions of the K-12 text have left a serious gap between a high school senior's reading ability and the reading requirements they will face post-graduation. Majority of what our students read independently are considered easy or fluff reads. It does not challenge the student. There is a decline in K-12 text because majority of the textbooks use bullet points, indicate key objectives for the page, illustrate main or key ideas, and the vocabulary within the text is usually in a bold font or highlighted, so therefore the student does not actually have to read the text for him or herself. College students are required to read raw forms of text, which requires the students to relate to the text and draw a deeper understanding without the prompts and probes. The students often struggle with the text because the students have been taught reading strategies and not how to properly engage with the text. It causes deficiencies for those students who enter the workforce, and they often struggle because they cannot comprehend the technical manuals that accompany the job. We are now at a part in the session that will allow you to actually participate. The title of this activity is Think, Write, Share. You as a participant will take 1 minute to think about the 2 questions that you see on the screen. Participants will then take 2 minutes to write a response to the 2 questions. Participants will then take 1 minute to share their responses with a neighbor. Once everyone has had time to share their response with at least one neighbor, then I will ask for 2 volunteers to debrief from sharing with your neighbor. One person will share a response to question number 1. The other volunteer will share the response to question number 2. Text complexity bands and Lexile ranges. These are the grade bands and Lexile ranges aligned to CCR expectations. Common Core State Standards Appendix B provides a list of suggested text at each grade level and what is considered grade level appropriate. The grade level text bands also serve as a roadmap for teachers, where you can see ways to scaffold, support, and promote reading proficiency among independent student readers. Here is a list of the references that were used to compile the information found within this presentation.